Welcome to today's video. We're doing my favorite thing today, which is reading new releases. I've said it before, I'll say it again, May is truly for the book girls because every single release that's dropping this month is absolutely spectacular. I, for one, am so excited for this video. I have been waiting quite a while to make it, and initially there was only one new release that I really wanted to put in this video, but then 2 review copies showed up at my doorstep, so I thought we could get around to those 3 books today. We have a really fun mix of books going on today. One of these books is, I believe, a debut, and I've never heard of this author, but the reviews on TikTok are fantastic. The second book is a contemporary romance from an old favorite author of mine, and for the third and final book, BookTok has been raving about this book, and I love this author's work, so we're gonna read that too. But let me cut the suspense and tell you what the first book we're reading is. If you watched last week's video, you know that this bad boy showed up at my doorstep, Silver Elite by Dani, and this book has been compared to Fourth Wing and Divergent. Shut up. Are you joking? Divergent and Fourth Wing, you say? I'll be the judge of that. I am really expecting great things. I don't know if this is a romantasy or a little more just like a dystopian plotline like Divergent. I don't know which way it's veering. So this is about a girl who is something called a modified, which I assume means she has certain powers. Yeah, she has abilities, and she makes a mistake, gets the attention of the enemy, and she has to join their elite training program in the Silver Block, hence Silver Elite. And this is like a deadly training. It's giving Dauntless. It's giving the Writer's Quadrant. And I assume there's some commander. Yeah, here we go. Your commanding officer is the ruthless and infuriatingly irresistible Cross Redden. Okay, so that's our Zayden, that's our Tobias. I'm actually really excited. This sounds fantastic. Everyone is saying it's amazing, and also a lot of reviews I trust personally are saying this is great. So we are getting straight into this. I'm just under 10% in, but what we know right now is our main character Ren has this power that you don't want the society to find out that you've got. She saves a boy's life by taking a very risky, very well aimed shot at the wolf that's attacking the boy. She has garnered the attention of the dystopian society. They have taken her uncle because they've realized the uncle is a fugitive. So what exactly does this mean for Ren? We're about to find out. What am I doing, you might be wondering? Well, I'm currently unhauling books. How does this relate to reading new books? If I want to read new books, I must have space for those new books. I'm going to be unhauling around 50 books. There is a bookstore in Sydney where you can actually sell them your old books if you want to get rid of them. The books that I am unhauling today are mainly books that I read and didn't really like, and then there are books that have been on my TBR for a really long time that I just simply have not read, or books that I don't really intend on ever rereading again. There are also a couple of authors I don't want on my shelves as well. There are also a couple of books here that are duplicates. Let's go to the bookstore, and for once I'm going to be making money, not spending money. How cool! Okay, I'm currently a 5th of the way through this book. You already know what I'm going to say. I have to go to the gym. So far, the Fourth Wing comparisons were pretty spot on, but it's like if Zayden and Violet's positions were switched. Because Cross, the male main character, he is the son of the general. So it's like Violet. I'm not the hugest fan of the writing style, but the plot is, like, it's entertaining. I want to know more. I want to find out more. So on that count, I would say it is quite good. I'm going to put this down for now, but I will be getting some reading done tonight. I read quite a lot last night. Surprise, surprise. If you've watched one of my reading vlogs before, you know that I do my best work at night. I'll read like 100 pages during the day and then 300 at night. That's very me. But I am just over the halfway mark of this book. I'm on page 283. So as of where we stand right now, we are inside the training program. And there are all these like classic Dauntless-esque, Fourth Wing Writer's Quadrant-esque challenges that they have to do, because this is, after all, the most elite military program in this dystopian society. But then of course the complication is Ren is an enemy of the state. Nobody knows that she is modified, that she has that mental power. I'm enjoying seeing the training, the challenges, all of that. It's a lot of fun. Now, as for the romance plotline, it is not enemies to lovers and it is not slow burn. Yes, Cross and Ren are on opposite sides of this whole thing, but there's no enemies, there's no animosity or hatred, to be honest. It is very insta-lust, it's very banter focused. 75% of the way in. The plot is slowing down a little, like it's lagging a little, but I don't know. I will say the writing style is not my favorite. I think I mentioned that already, but it's so fourth wingy. I think another issue I have, like romance wise, it's insta-lust. I just don't love that, but let's power through this. 150 pages to go. I didn't expect that. Alright everyone, I just finished the book. I did share most of my thoughts pretty incrementally, but overall, I thought it was a 3.5 star read. I wanted to keep reading, I had fun. However, with that being said, I had a couple of key issues. The first was the writing. I don't love the writing style. It's very reminiscent of Fourth Wing, and I think I've talked on here before that Fourth Wing's writing style really is not my favorite. It's just like that. The next thing I wanted to say was the romance. I don't like insta-lust. I don't think it made sense for someone like Ren to have this sort of arc with Cross. It just didn't make sense at all to me. And yeah, generally this is just a personal preference. Love me a good slow burn. Love me a true enemies to lovers. Their attraction was instantaneous. They acted on it pretty quickly without any hesitation. So yeah, it seemed out of character for Ren. But building off of things that seem out of character, there were some things that Ren did which just seemed so unbelievably unintelligent, but she's such a smart girl. Why was she doing those things? So 3.5 stars. Thank you so much to Penguin for sending me a copy of this book. Morning. Without further ado, let's just talk about the next book I'm going to read. It is The Things We Water by Mariana Zapata. Mariana Zapata is the undisputed queen of slow burn contemporary romance, and I'm talking like 500 pages long. First Kiss on page 450, like that kind of vibe. I have actually really enjoyed her contemporary romance novels so far. I have quite a few of them on my shelves. This is a romance, well, not a romantasy, it's a romance, but it's set in a fantasy world. You know what? Why not? I am a little stressed in seeing that this is a fantasy romance because she did write another one called When Gracie Met the Grump. I hated that, and it was so surprising to me because I love Mariana Zapata, but that one book I was like, ugh, it was not good at all. So I'm very much hoping this doesn't go the same route as that, but the reviews for this one have been good so far. So I guess we're continuing in the fantasy romance vein right now, except a little more different because Mariana will definitely emphasize more romance than say Silver Elite, because a lot of that was plot. This is definitely going to be more romance oriented. I am indeed going to work today, so I won't have too much reading time. Oh my god, this book is long. It's 700 pages on Kindle, so I'll see what I can do. I'm thinking we read a little bit now and then we'll read a bit when I come home. Let me try and explain what's going on. So in this world, it's our world, but there are supernatural beings who live in hiding, like werewolves, centaurs, unicorns, all that jazz. Our main character Nina brings home a dog and she thinks it's just a normal dog, but it turns out to be a magical puppy. And so she must go to a ranch that is owned by her best friend's grumpy cousin, the love interest, to kind of like live among them for this puppy's sake, I think. I can't lie, I'm not enjoying this book. The world building is not good. It's very shaky. I'm not that far into the book, so I don't really have a handle on who the character is, what she's like. I have always thought that Mariana Zapata's fantasy ventures haven't really worked out for me. I think the writing style just clashes a little bit, but let's hope this one picks up because I have absolutely no qualms about DNFing a 700-page book. I will do that like that. If this doesn't grab my attention within the next 5% or so, I am going to DNF because I'm so bored right now. I have an update. It's not a particularly happy update, but I did end up DNFing The Things We Water by Mariana Zapata. I DNF'd it 11% into the book, which is usually a lot earlier than I DNF something, but I just knew I did not want to keep reading, which is really sad because I love Mariana Zapata, genuinely. Like, From Lukov with Love, All Roads Lead Here, Culty, beautiful. Unfortunately, as I found out with When Gracie Met the Grump, I just don't think that her style of writing really lends itself to fantasy. Not every single type of writing works across genres, and this certainly didn't for me. I felt, like I said, that the world building was quite thin. There was not a lot of effort there. It was just random things thrown at us. The concept of this magical puppy, it just didn't drag me in, which is really sad, but never fear, because the next book I'm going to read I know without a doubt I'm going to enjoy it. I could not be more excited for our next book. Let me not get ahead of myself. I will see you tomorrow and we will be picking up one of my most anticipated reads of May. Morning guys, super exciting morning today because we are finally starting The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I have been wanting to read this so badly ever since it arrived on my doorstep, but I did have to work through my TBR first, so it wasn't priority number one. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I got my hands on this somehow. Thank you, Hachette. I have heard nothing but incredible things about this book, and usually I'd be kind of skeptical if every single TikTok review were positive. However, in this case, I genuinely think it's because the book is good. My evidence for this is Exhibit 1. The Shepherd King duology was very good, so I know her writing style is good. I know her ability to craft a story is good. Exhibit B is that all of the good reviews that I have seen have come from people whose recommendations I genuinely really trust. So I have no doubt in my mind that this book is going to be incredible, and thank God, because I did indeed DNF the book before this one. This will be our final fantasy romance that I'll be reading in this video, and as this goes up, it's not actually out yet, so I won't be giving you a single spoiler. But we will read the summary together because that is publicly available. This book is about a girl who is a diviner, which is a prophetess in this world, and she can usually use her power to see people's future. However, she comes across this one knight and she cannot see his future, which has not happened, I think, and she and that knight must go on a quest together. That's not actually giving us a lot of information, so I was wondering exactly how this would go. I did in fact start it last night and it was so good that I'm 20% in already. And I just want to say the one amazing thing about Rachel Gillig, amongst many others, is her ability to craft these worlds. Her atmospheric writing is so good, and if you've read the Shepherd King duology, you know exactly what I mean. That sort of eerie, misty, foggy kind of feeling, not just the actual atmosphere. You feel that way when you read it, and I love that. This book already, it has that same gloomy, misty, mysterious, magical kind of feeling, and we haven't got very far in at all, and I already love the setting and the way it's described. I also love her writing, but this is no surprise to me. I knew I'd like it. The one thing that has really taken me by surprise so far in this book is the female main character. When I heard she was a prophetess and a diviner who belonged to like a church kind of, I thought she would be, you know, meek, priestess, quiet, you know? No, the prophetesses are not like that. She is so cool. I love her. She's witty, very strong character, and I'm really excited to see where this would go. We have in fact been introduced to our knight. This happened pretty early in the book, and I love their dynamic together. They're not rivals or enemies or anything like that. They're just not particularly friendly towards each other, and that of course lends itself to some very funny banter. So for the next couple of days, we are going to be reading The Night and the Moth. I'm about to leave for work, but don't worry, it's a short shift. But then I am going to the movies with my friends, so will we get a lot of reading time? No, but that's okay. We'll take our time with this one. I do want to savor this experience. Let's get to reading The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. We're 20% in, and this is a short book. There are less than 400 pages, so let's get straight into it. Let's get straight to business. I am over a third of the way through The Night and the Moth, and I'm loving it so far. I'm gonna tell you a little about where the plot's going, but no spoilers. Everything I'm about to say is readily available on the blurb. So we live in a world where there are 6 different gods, and these gods are called omens, and to represent each of the 6 gods, there are 6 diviners, which are prophetesses. There is a new king, a boy king, and he comes to get his future divined by the diviners at Ashland Cathedral, which is where they work out of. However, immediately after that visit ends, the prophetesses, the diviners, begin disappearing one by one, and number 6, our main character Sybil, is trying to work out what's happening to her fellow diviners, and that is why she sets off on a quest to, you know, get some answers as to what exactly is going on and what has happened to the other girls. On this quest, she is accompanied by the foul-mouthed, ill-mannered knight, who also accompanied the king, as well as her gargoyle, because each diviner has their own gargoyle. That is the main gist of why Sybil sets off on this quest and the foundation of the story. I was expecting this book to be good, of course. I know I like Rachel Gillig's writing. I also know she's so good at creating atmosphere. You can really feel the way that the world feels. That was a really stupid sentence, but I think you know what I mean. But I wasn't expecting to be as charmed by how much wit is in this, and also our main character. I think I already told you this, but I expected her to be really meek because she is a prophetess. In my mind, I was like, oh, kind of like a priestess. She's working on behalf of the religion, right? No, I love her. I love her so much. I can verify that this is shaping up to be a slow burn. Genuinely. And you know me, if there is insta lust, I will call it out immediately, but I definitely don't feel that kind of vibe here. The other thing is, this has been marketed as a romantasy, which means that the romance is what's fueling the plot. I'm also not getting those vibes. Like, I genuinely feel that the fantasy plot is fueling the story, but then again, only a third of the way through, and if it is a slow burn, why on earth would anything be happening in the first third? Today, my day is wide open, so you best believe I'm just going to be reading as much as I can of this book. Okay, little update. It's been around 5 hours or so since I last saw you, and we only have this much to go, so less than 100 pages to go, which is absolutely crazy to me. I can't stop reading it. I can't tell you anything that's going on at this point because that will be a spoiler, and obviously I don't want to say anything. I'm loving the pacing. I'm not bored for a second. I also really adore the characters, but I knew that from the get-go. The romance I'm really starting to enjoy as well. Like I said, it is a lot slower. It is definitely not an insta-lust situation, and we're still on this quest. And of course, the classical elements of a quest are that you go through certain challenges and also find objects or people sometimes. Those elements are very much present in this story. Once again, that's not really a spoiler. That's exactly what happens in a quest, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And yeah, less than 100 pages to go. I will be sad to say goodbye to this, but it is a duology. I think the next book's coming out next year. Let's finish this. What the hell? I finished the book. Or did it finish me? 5 stars. I don't know what to say. The whole way through this was a 4.5 stars, but I think that ending and literally the last chapter, that pushed it to a 5-star read. It was incredible. Oh my gosh, like I actually don't know what to say about this. So going into the book, I knew that the writing would be good. I knew that the world would be good because I am familiar with Rachel Gillig. But what I wasn't expecting was the level of wit that was in this story. It was funny, genuinely. The characters as well were so much stronger than they were in the Shepherd King duology, and I already liked the Shepherd King duology. Yeah, it was even better in this one. This was just perfect. The world was exquisite, of course. The characters were great. The romance was amazing as well. And if there's one thing I learned from the Shepherd King duology, it's that she knows how to put a good twist in, and there was an abundance of twists in this. I think this is the perfect gothic fantasy romance, but there is such a strong plot to it, and that's exactly what I want in my fantasy romances. As much as I love a good romance, there has to be something else in the plot. I really need to know what happens in the next book, and I hope to God it's coming out early next year because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't stop thinking about the ending. If you like fantasy, if you like fantasy romance, if you like Rachel Gillig's other books, please do yourself a favor and add this to your TBR. And this is coming out on the 27th of May, I believe, so it's not too long of a wait, and I genuinely cannot wait to hear what everyone has to say about this, and I hope you all love it as much as I did. What a good way to end the video. Like, this is the perfect book we could have finished on, and I'm so glad I saved the best for last. Oh, I'm now probably, once I turn this camera off, I'm gonna stare at my wall for like 10 minutes and think about this book. That is all for this week's video. I love fantasy romances. This is probably my favorite genre, so it was really nice to explore a couple of new releases. Granted, we only got through 2. Thanks for following along, and I will be seeing you next week for another video. Bye!